Hey, Dad.
Yes,
It's July.
it is July.
What's the birthstone of July?
Rubies.
Let's talk about them.
So there's natural rubies. The very best come from, they're called the Burmese rubies, which is now Myanmar. Incredibly rare, can go up to 100,000 to almost $1 million a kilo. Oh, it's crazy. They
So that's why
never
we
come
don't have
in
a
really
few.
giant stones. They're smaller. Most are treated. There's all kinds of treatments. There's oil treatments. They heat them. There's fillers. They fill them with leaded glass. Most rubies have some sort of inclusions. They're rarely perfectly clean. You optimally want a beautiful deep red, maybe even with just a touch of purple is what you're seeking for the very best colors. But they range all the way to light pink. So even me, who has like a whole thing of rubies here, none of these are completely natural
Or
with no
fillers or
treatments,
anything.
no fillers, no anything. They're incredibly
Wow.
rare, maybe 1%, if even that, of rubies out there. That's why most people have never seen a truly natural ruby.
But treated doesn't mean bad.
No, treated doesn't mean that. In fact, they took rubies that maybe didn't look so pretty and made them look prettier by filling them, heating them, doing all that. So almost any ruby that you're buying in a jewelry store is going to be treated in some way. And of course, there's also labs. And lab grown is corundum. They're going to be very clean, unlike natural rubies, and they're going to have really great color. I would say my recommendations for people out there, if you're really trying to save money, just go lab grown.
Can we talk about color for a minute? Like you think of the ruby slippers, they're this bright red.
Famous for its red color. That's what made rubies so spectacular. Your nicer rubies are going to be more translucent. You're going to see some light through them.
And pinkish, right? They're really pinkish.
They can get very pinkish. However, because they're corundum, if they get to certain shades of pink, they're no longer called rubies, they're called pink sapphires. As we look close at some of these rubies, your optimum, super, amazing, excellent color would be this color right here.
Ooh.
Now, this ruby is filled. It is a real ruby. Now you can look right here and right next to this. We can hold these two next to each other and you can really see a difference, right?
Mhm.
This is probably a fairly natural ruby, maybe has been heat treated, but its quality is not very good because it doesn't throw a lot of color.
it's all
You can't really
foggy.
see through it. It's foggy. So rubies like this can go for as little as $50 a carat, $100 a carat, where a ruby like this, completely natural, would almost not exist. If this were a completely natural ruby, untreated,
You
it
wouldn't
would
have
be
it.
in the Smithsonian and it wouldn't be in my shop. These, I love the color of them, but these are actually leaded glass fill rubies where they're taking corundum and they're melting leaded glass into it. I have that in my ring. They're not very valuable because of such heavy treatment that's happened to them. But this one I really liked. And the
Ooh.
deep redness of the color, the thickness of the size, I'm sure it's filled. And there's different ways you can tell. You can, use really close magnification and look for little bubbles, look for striations. Ones. You'll see a lot of small rubies. And again, most of them are probably heat treated and oil treated. That's a little crystal. That's pretty cool.
Right?
I look for stuff. It's probably treated again. It's probably heat treated. Give it that nice deep color. Now, if you look at these rubies here, this is going to be a lot of what you might find in your more commercial rubies. They are not lab grown. You can tell because they have heavy inclusions. There's not a lot of transparency in them. So they're not a super high quality, but even these would be, $400 or $500 a carat. Rubies are crazy rare. It's surprising it's a birthstone. So anyway, Ruby, yeah. So happy birthday, you Ruby people. Find yourself a Ruby. Give us a call if you're interested. I wish I had an easier thing to tell you how to not get ripped off the Ruby.
We have testing equipment and
But even with testing equipment,
it's just not.
I got taken. I love these. They were so beautiful. And I bought these at a gem show. And I think I paid like $100 a carat, which for a wholesale gem show thing is pretty high. When I got home and I really tested them and looked at them, they were lead glass filled. And
Oh,
literally, when they're making these, they take corundum that is such poor quality that it would probably almost look black, and they heat it, they do all this stuff to it, and then they infuse it with leaded glass and all this, that by the time it's done, it's pretty, but it's pretty much a piece of glass.
but you still stand by them. You have one in your ring. Like they're still
I have one in
beautiful
my ring
stones.
because it's beautiful, and because I really like it. I think it's really pretty, and I'm also seeing how it wears. I was just kind of really curious to rough it up, smash it around, and see how it holds. Because does that glass hold up? Does that glass crack? How is it to temperature and all kinds of stuff? So it's pretty. And if that were a completely natural ruby, I would have to guess it would be hundreds of thousands of
Oh,
dollars
well, I'm
with
glad that's
that
not on your
color,
hand.
that size. So yeah, like we have a customer who wants a
Oh,
screaming Burmese traditional
5 carat.
natural ruby, and she's looking for five. We've been looking for 5 years.
At least 5. It was more like 7, I think. We've been
Right.
looking for
We've
her for
been
a
looking
long
for a
time.
long time. When I was at the really big gem shows in Las Vegas, I went and talked to some of the international dealers who specialize in them. And we were able to find some small ones. When I say small, like this, in the $30,000, $40,000 range, because she's hoping in the 20, 30,000, but for something bigger. And I just don't think we're going to find it. So
But I guess how would you sum it up?
enjoy rubies for the color and for the hardness. They're very good for jewelry. Don't expect to have a completely natural ruby.
Because filled is still beautiful and it won't wear off or
Well,
anything,
that's
right?
what I'm kind of doing. I've been pushing this really hard, and this is the cheapest of the treated rubies that still look really good.
And then there's also lab grown. So
Oh
there's
yeah, and
lots
there's
of beautiful.
always lab grown, and lab grown is fully corundum. It is fully a ruby. But it was, instead of created by the earth, it was created by humans and big pressure,
Doing some magic
heat
mumbo jumbo.
treating machinery that makes them. But they're going to be very bright. They're going to be the perfect color. They're going to be clean. They're going to have all of that. You can call them a ruby. It's confusing. I hope I shed a little bit of ruby light.
Yeah. But happy birthday, Ruby people.
Happy birthday, ruby people.